You've heard the claim, ditch the carbs, go keto, and your body will become a fat-burning machine. The idea of being fat adapted sounds great, but is it actually a better way to lose fat? Let's break down the science. From Wits and Weights, I'm Philip Pape, and this is Nutrition Science Daily, bringing you the latest in nutrition, fat loss, and health science, all in under 5 minutes. Welcome to day 2 of Nutrition Myths Week. Today, we are talking about the term fat adapted and the myth associated with it. This is the body's ability to shift from burning carbohydrates to burning more fat as its primary fuel source. This actually does happen when you eat very few carbs because it forces your body to rely on fat stores for energy. And keto enthusiasts, even carnivore zealots today, claim this leads to superior fat loss compared to a traditional diet. But here is the key distinction. Burning more fat for energy does not mean you're losing more body fat. A study in the Journal of Physiology found that while low-carb, high-fat diets increase fat oxidation, this does not translate to greater fat loss. Why? Because fat loss still comes down to energy balance. If you consume more calories than you burn, you will not lose fat no matter what fuel source your body is using, because the energy ends up getting stored as fat regardless. So higher fat oxidation, but you're also storing more body fat, guess what? It nets out. And here's the thing, research shows that when calorie intake is matched, there is no significant difference in fat loss between low carb and higher carb diets. In fact, some studies suggest that people on keto and other lower carb diets may actually burn fewer calories per day over time due to metabolic adaptation. Now, that's an interesting one. What about performance? Well, if you're lifting weights, if you're doing high intensity training, strength training, like we talk about on the show that everyone should be doing, then relying on fat as a primary fuel source can actually hurt your performance, sometimes quite a bit. Carbs provide quick, efficient energy, while fat oxidation is actually slower. And that is why endurance athletes, for example, who switch to keto often experience a drop in power output and recoverability, even if they do adapt to it somewhat. And adherence is also extremely important. And I think it gets lost in all of this yelling back and forth between these restrictive diet tribes. The fact is, many people just struggle to sustain any of these diets long-term, period. You can tell me, hey, carnivore made me feel amazing. It solved all my issues. I want to hear from you in 5 years, maybe 10 years. Were you actually able to stick to that diet? The chances are very close to zero that you were. And the moment people on these diets reintroduce carbs, they regain water weight, and that leads to the false belief that they're gaining fat overnight. It's just fluid, folks. Carbs, which cause an intake of, which are associated with glucose, cause 3 to 4 grams of water storage in your body. So is becoming fat adapted some magical fat loss hack? No, absolutely not. Zero, no way whatsoever. Your body's always burning a mix of carbs and fat for energy. And at the end of the day, fat loss comes down to your total calorie intake, not the fuel source your body prefers to burn. And of course, we know this in reality because of the many, many very successful athletes and clients that I have who eat tons and tons of carbs, enjoying their diets and still getting the fat loss and body composition they want. But if you're not sure how to structure your diet, the calories, the macros, how many carbs, you want to download my Nutrition 101 guide. The link is in the show notes. That is going to tell you how to set everything up. If you're wondering, how do I do macros? How do I do calories? Where does everything else fit in? What about meal timing? It is all explained in there. Go hit the link in the show notes to download my Nutrition 101 guide. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, hit follow so you don't miss tomorrow's episode, day 3 of Nutrition Myths Week, where we are tackling the fear-mongering around so-called toxic, quote-unquote, foods like seed oils, sugar, and artificial sweeteners.